One is hailed as the best sounding in its class, and another is the successor to one of the most respected headsets ever made. So, you know, no pressure then. And one will easily turn your brain into mush. This, my friends, is the battle of the high-end gaming headsets. And TLDR, there aren't necessarily any winners or losers here. It's just a matter of which is best for you ultimately. But let's break them all down. And oh, this is going to be a long one, so grab a snack or something. The Audeze Maxwell retails for $300, the Razer Blackshark V3 Pro $250, and the Skullcandy PLYR 720 $270. The Maxwell and the PLYR 720 have Bluetooth 5.3 with AAC, SBC, and aptX LE. The Maxwell adds LDAC. The Blackshark settles for AAC and SBC only though. The Razer weighs 267 grams, the Audeze 490 grams, man, and Skullcandy is the lightest at 355. And battery life during my time with it, the Maxwell was able to last 68.4 hours on Wi-Fi and 61.9 hours with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. The Skullcandy gave me 34.2 hours with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth or 46.7 hours with Wi-Fi only. And with the Razer, I got 64.3 hours with Wi-Fi, ANC on, and 57.9 hours adding Bluetooth on top of that. In Bluetooth mode, all headsets except the Audeze were tested with AAC at 65% volume, and with the Maxwell, I had it on LDAC the whole time. Now, some of the major things that you don't get. The PLYR doesn't have wireless Xbox support, in case you're wondering. The Audeze and the Skullcandy don't have ANC. There's no RGB on the Audeze or Razer, and none include a carry case. One of the biggest pain points of the Blackshark V2 was that the yoke was plastic. There was a lot of complaints about breakages, weak points, and things like that. But now it is all metal. The sliding mechanism is still the same. Under tension, when it's on your head, it is harder to adjust than proper slider mechanisms in the headband itself. You have to, if you want to make quick adjustments, you probably have to pop it off your head and adjust it like so. But otherwise, you know, it is what it is right there. Another change that they've done is this magnetic cap right here that you can replace with your favorite esport team or something. You can buy them, and I heard that Razer provides a 3D printed 3D file for this, so you can personalize your own cap if you like, which really would brighten up this black colorway. It's very plain, it's aviator style, and I love this volume knob, even though I'm not sure why it's counterintuitive. This is on the left side, and volume up is counterclockwise and volume down is clockwise, which is opposite of how we do volume knobs. I don't understand that. This is the port for the mic and USB-C, and we have power buttons, and also we have something that the others don't have, ANC. But otherwise, this thing, the build quality is fantastic. I love the cushioning on this, absolutely soft, very, very plush, and quite good isolation, passive isolation as well, on top of the active noise cancellation. Say what you want to say about Skullcandy in this comparison, but their industrial designers deserve a pat on the back. I'll tell you what, this past couple of years, their designs have been on fire, and it's not just design for the sake of design. There's actually thought into ergonomics and how everything falls into place, and aesthetics and wearability and all that. So yeah, I really appreciate that in a company. They kind of remind me of Nothing, where, you know, the Nothing phone and their other devices, where they think about how, you know, people use their products and how they can also combine design with ergo, which is great. Like, I love the grill outside here. It's metal, and you can peek into the drivers in there. This is the bass dial. This is minimum all the way to maximum, and guess what? This is my usual listening position. It's really strong, guys. Anything higher, it just pops my brain out. Custom button right here, power button, and this little joystick, volume up, volume down, up, down, and a forward and backward track. And then there's an enter as well, USB-C charging, 3.5 as well, and mic port, boom mic, and a dedicated mute button right here, which is really nice. The slider mechanism is on the shaft right there. Plenty of articulation all around. The suspension band at the top works really well, although it does need a lot of frequent cleaning, especially if you use a lot of hair products. This thing gets kind of sticky after a while. The ear pads are really plush and really soft, although they are kind of warm for my liking. At least they're replaceable, so I can't wait for third-party replacements to come out for this. And finally, we come to the fan favorite, the Audeze Maxwell. This thing is just a premium product, at least in terms of build quality, all metal for the most part. My favorite part is actually the ear pads. They're so nice and soft and plush, guys. Oh, this thing is fantastic. I didn't like the tension band adjustment. There's very limited adjustability to this thing, 3 tabs on each side. But I heard and I saw there's also like a fourth a 4-tap version being sold by third party on Amazon, so maybe you can check that out. Controls are not my favorite. They're small. I mean, once you commit it to memory, they're easier to find, but for ergonomics, they're kind of the worst. They're tiny and small and just hard to find just by, feel quickly. So something to bear in mind. I do like the power button dedicated on the side here on the left ear cup, as well as the mute button. In terms of the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi dongles, the Maxwell and the PLYR have traditional thumb drive-ish, as you can see, transmitters, whereas Razer decided to go with this slightly more cumbersome trapezoidal accessory. And I say cumbersome because while the other two have, one thing for you to tote around, maybe just the adapters if you need USB-C or USB, the Razer's like Hyperspeed Gen 3 module requires you to pack an extra cable. So, something to bear in mind there. Clips, Ace Trumpets. If you heard the song, you know what it's all about, and especially on these Skullcandies. In no particular order, we're starting with these. Yeah, I have the bass on a little bit, and it's really rocking my skull. Pretty darn awesome. But anyways, I have these. We're doing the outside Bluetooth range test, guys. So we have all three lined up, ready to go next, and I have the song piping through my OnePlus Open directly into the Skullcandy first, the PLYR 700. Where I'm standing right now, 25 feet away from the phone. Signal is still going strong. Man, that bass. And I have it like on minimum, guys. Dude, let me crank it up a little bit just for fun. Oh, thump. That bass drop, guys. Signal is still going strong. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Oh, I just got a left right. Okay, so this is around maybe, I would say 65, 70 feet away from the device. So that's good. You can see how these fit on my medium-sized skull. And for a suspension type headband, it is actually pretty low profile. And the ear cups are a little bit thick, but par for course for gaming headsets. And I took these running, not that they are designed to do that, but in case, you're like trying to dash back and forth between the kitchen and back to your game or something. These stay relatively stable on your head, especially the top. There is some weight here, as we mentioned, because of the heft here. There is quite a bit of jostling around the ear, but otherwise these things stay put. Just got a left-right fluctuation. We're barely 35 feet from the source. I'll call it like 32 away from the source around the corner of the house, and I'm already getting left-right. But granted, these are running LDAC as opposed to AAC on the other one. So something to bear in mind there. These, even though they're compact and they're, they sit really nicely on the head, there is a lot of weight. So if you're running around with these, just like we did with the Skullcandy theoretical, scenario there, you will feel the weight shift around on your neck. So something to bear in mind. Now, let's switch over to the Blacksharks. I'm standing 25 feet away from the phone. The signal to the Blackshark is still going perfect. So as we keep walking around here, let's see how strong these hold on to the signal. We're past the window, which is 35 feet away. Still strong. Oh, will this beat the Skullcandy? The Skullcandy was right around here. Oh, exactly the same spot. We just got a sputter, and I am gonna say this is around slightly further, around 68, 70 feet thereabouts, but pretty much the same. So there you go. The fit of these also pretty compact, a little bit thicker on the ear pad side or over my head, and the ear cups, they're designed to kind of like aviator headphones. And these things, they look comfortable and they basically sit on your skull. So if you take these running or you just jump about a lot, they basically want to fall off and just slide off your head. So there you go. Now, I am curious how these perform down by the roadside in terms of mic performance. Let's do it. Right now you can hear on the Blackshark that we have right now, the S's on my voice are a little bit digital, but everything else sound pretty good, right? And those were motorcycles passing through, testing, 1, 2, 3. Here comes more cars too. With or without the Windjammer, it is also pretty good. My voice quality gets a little bit, the sibilance raises up a little bit. My S's get a little bit more pronounced, but not by much. It is really nice, and especially is helpful for, windy, or if you have a fan directly blowing into your face, AC or something like that. But other than that, or if you're a close talker like this, it would really help. Now, since we're here and we have the car, let me do the door slam test with the action cam, testing, and with the mics on the Blackshark. How does that sound, guys? Not much noise suppression there, but it does sound natural, like everything sounds the right distance away. So this mic is doing what it does. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Like the cars actually sound like they're on the road. They are not, especially if you're listening to these samples with a headphone, you can hear that they are being captured properly. So there you go. Spatially, they're correct. Okay, guys, I think we have a problem here because these PLYR 720s, testing, 1, 2, 3, they suck. They don't sound very good. There's a lot of interference, and yeah, it's just not very. The signal is not stable, and I've made sure that this thing is plugged in all the way. And yeah, and this doesn't come with a boom mic cover. As far as I can tell, I looked at the pictures, I looked in the box to see if it's actually missing, but it is very affected by wind. And this is one of the most interesting boom mics I've seen. It doesn't bend. Like, it has this natural curve. I guess it goes a little bit that way, but you can like form it like a Gumby toy to your preference. Testing, 1, 2, 3. And so yeah, the voice quality, it is a Skullcandy. You can tell the bass, it's more pronounced here. But SQ, there's an eagle. Yeah, we have an eagle's nest here nearby. It's really cool. We have a couple right over there and one right over there. They're fighting or something. But anyways, I digress. Let's do the door slam test just for kicks with the action cam. And here's the mic on the Skullcandy. This thing needs a cover, and maybe there's a chance this might be legit, because for some of you, the mic itself makes or breaks a gaming headset, and if this kind of sucks, it kind of basically isn't a gaming headset anymore. So yeah, if you can live with it, sure, but I think of all three, this is the worst. Oh yeah, I forgot, you can't turn off the noise suppression system on the Audeze. This is what you hear right now. It is what it is. Here comes some cars. I wish this was more of a fairer fight. But you can hear right here, if you don't believe me. Here's the noise suppression with the camera and with the mic on these. Yeah, everything is like dulled and nullified. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Here comes some cars. You can hear the noise suppression is doing its work in keeping the sounds at bay and away. But my voice quality is really nice, very comparable to the Razers. In fact, some of you may say it's a little bit better on the low end, or actually no, sorry, the mid-range. It is a little bit crisper and more detailed, but it is something subjective right there. And this is without the windjammer. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Here comes a truck coming this way. Testing, 1, 2, 3. There's no wind, so I'm just doing it right now. Yeah, anyways, thank you so much for checking this out. Testing. Ooh, nice Mustang right there. Yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think, which of the three is your favorite. And in the meantime, let's head back to the studio. Audeze HQ, hands down, is the slowest and clunkiest to use here. Practically every menu and every action has a delay that borders on glacial. Like, I don't know, how is this not a concern for Audeze? Or maybe it's actually all a feature. I've said it before and I'll say it again, Skullcandy's companion app is nearly as good as Soundcore's, the current champ in my mind. The last few versions, I have to say though, have taken a slight backseat in terms of UI, but it's still one of the easiest and most comprehensive in the business, even if the gaming aspect is rather light in this company. You know what this sounds like? It's like Skullcandy transplanted Crusher ANC DNA into a gaming headset. And if you aren't exactly sure of the significance of that statement, it's basically as if you had subwoofers strapped to your head that you dial up and down on demand. The 40mm drivers are more refined now, reminding me a lot of the Aviator 900 ANC, but when compared side by side with the other two, the PLYR is distinctively warmer even with the bass set at minimum. Still, the tuning plays especially well with reverby bass instruments like drums. Yim Hook Man and Brad Wilkes Take the Power Back are a couple of excellent examples to test these on. And so the effect and power is as though the mics near the instruments are piped directly to your skull. Now, wired listening via 3.5 is surprisingly competent at a pinch. And of course, don't forget that the 25mm Crusher drivers and DSP are offline during that time. The Blackshark V3 Pro is fast and playful with surprising depth and clarity. There's emphasis on mids and treble, although that doesn't also mean that bass is an unwilling player. Low end is tighter than a bark on a tree, guys, except I would say sub bass, where it can get muddy and almost non-existent in some scenarios. There's a great sense of spaciousness though, I'll tell you what, which we'll talk more about in the gaming section. Now, wired listening is through USB-C here, and it actually draws power from the source device to keep the system energized, which means everything works and sounds the same as when battery powered, at the expense of battery life on, your source device. I did a much deeper dive of the Maxwell a while back, so be sure to link the video up above here somewhere. Basically, the Maxwell needs a little bit more power to properly drive. It has the strongest passive ISO. It sounds warmer, yet is the most precise and emotional of the trio. Like listening to Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong on Summertime. Dude, goosebumps from head to toe, I'll tell you what. The bass drive in Deeper by Pete Belasco goes down to the base of your neck like a smooth shot of Grey Goose vodka. Yeah, this thing is just more intimate all around. All three are great for the basics like footsteps and gunfire directionality. Atmos and THX Spatial are supported depending on what device you choose, but are features I tend to ignore anyway. Like, while each of these can replicate some kind of 7.1.4 bubble, they end up sounding kind of flat and lacking energy. And also another reason I don't care for Atmos and THX, at least for now, is that fully compatible games, there's like 100+ titles, are rather limited. I found that many titles that say that they aren't actually 100% spatial, maybe just for dialogues or specific effects. So with that, I'll give the win to Audeze for in-game audio when in stereo mode, followed by Skullcandy and then Razer. Like with the Skullcandy, when the explosions or bass drop hit, you feel it in your eyeballs. Now, activate any of the game modes and Razer is back in the lead with distinctive tuning that players can easily pair with specific genres or titles. Game modes in the Audeze and Skullcandy aren't as convincing, although they're still very competent in their own right. The Maxwell definitely feels more audiophile-like in terms of weightiness on the head. I found it hard to wear this beyond a couple of hours without taking it off for a break or to realign or something. It's built like a traditional Audeze, therefore it's not just the most premium looking device here, but also by a sizable margin, the heaviest by feel and in empirical terms. And some of you may prefer that kind of toughness, but gaming sessions can only be done in shorter spurts with this thing. Weight distribution on the 720 is actually pretty darn good. In this company also, compressive force is more like a headphone than a gaming headset, i.e. it can handle more head jostling before sliding off your skull. And I have to say though that the foam pads are stiffer and much warmer than I would prefer, but thank goodness they're user replaceable, although it would have been nice if Skullcandy included or provided some kind of like airier, lighter pad in the box as well. Fit and comfort for the Razer lies somewhere between the PLYR and the Maxwell, I think. The adjustment slider does take some getting used to, but once you dial it in, you've got something that can get you through hours-long playing sessions, no problem. If you want an absolute like cloud-like feel, then you have to go for lighter models like the Asus ROG Pelta or Barracuda X Chroma. Now, as the only one with active noise cancellation though, even though it's, not meant to compete with Bose's or XM6's, not even close, it gets bonus points for isolative comfort. Like, it's great for dampening loud PC fans or clickety keyboards that none of the other two feature. Of course, looks are highly subjective, so take this section with a grain of salt. And more so, black models that all of these are can look drastically different from other colorways. So there's that. Like the Blackshark in PlayStation White looks absolutely sick, whereas the PC version looks comparatively sedate. But anyways, I'm digressing somewhat. If I were to pick my favorite from a design standpoint, and not just for looks, but for cohesiveness, subtle touches, and unique elements, it would be, surprise, surprise, the Skullcandy. It's just ahead of the Maxwell that's handsome and not as showy like a traditional gaming device, as well as the V3 Pro that in this color can easily pass off as my grandpa's aviation headset. Now, I applaud Skullcandy and Audeze for easy to find mute buttons, and I also love the blend of buttons and knobs and thumbsticks on the Skullcandy, and I do curse the tiny general controls on the Maxwell as well, as the Blackshark's like backward directional volume knob. Like, why is this counterclockwise to reduce the volume and clockwise to increase it? My two biggest hang-up about the PLYR though, it needs a physically stepped bass dial or something. Plus, please let us turn off the bloody RGB. Sometimes I just want to use this in a dark plane or a dark room next to other people and this thing glows like a bug zapper strapped to my head or something. This one is hard, so don't ask me which I prefer, even though I know some of you are gonna ignore that and ask me in the comments anyway, but seen from a gaming lens, all three are on point. From a build perspective, the Maxwell and Blackshark give off a more premium vibe than the PLYR. In terms of feature count, the latest Blackshark throws everything in but the kitchen sink, well, except for, aptX and high-res Bluetooth support. Yeah, if you were to ask me right now which I'll pick as my favorite overall gaming headset, I'll say the Blackshark. For what it's worth, I've had all three sitting on my desk for the past month, and when it's time to dispatch the Paintress or Inquisitor Lodwin, almost instinctively I'll reach for the Razer each time. Absolutely killer gamer-centric and gamer-friendly platform that belongs in any esports setting. Now, for the best interface, control, and vibe, Skullcandy nails it with the PLYR 720. And of course, if you're looking for the best overall SQ and arguably more premium build, the Maxwell takes the cake. If this thing, I'll tell you what, if this thing weren't so plagued with bugs and QC issues that many owners have been experiencing, and also that clunky app, this could easily be the best of the best. Now, if you want something completely different, something out of the box, I'll argue getting a good headphone like a Sennheiser HD6XX and pairing it with a superior streaming mic like a Rode NT might be a great path to take as well. And that's all she wrote. That was a bloody long video, wasn't it? And I know some of you fast forwarded through this, and even that would have been a long video. And thanks to all the brands that participated as well. Audeze, Razer, and Skullcandy all contributed the headsets this time. And I hope you found this video useful. And thanks for wasting your time on this channel, guys. I appreciate y'all so much. And if you like what I do, subscribe, like, and all that, and reshare this with your friends. Let's get the word out there for Gear Up. And remember to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, because guess what? If you haven't seen the news lately, the world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you, believe it or not. I love you guys very much. Peace out and God bless.